I don't
I'm
expect
so
you to.
sorry.
Why are you sorry? I'm not expecting it.
Well, I should. Thank
Why?
you, because
That's
you
rude.
helped me out tremendously by doing that.
It's not like if it's not on my way to my house. Since Manny won't let me turn on my scooter anymore. I ran into a wall without a helmet. So Manny has it at 1 mile per hour. So I'd rather just leave it there. He has me grounded. The little he knows, he thinks he's gonna go on a bike ride in September. I'm gonna slash his tires. So he just go on my scooter. An eye for an eye. I don't have a scooter. He doesn't have a motorcycle. But then I have to fight all three of them. Yes, 3 motorcycles.
As you're so used to. Hi, Vero.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's like, we're not going to the fair this year? And I said, no. He goes, aw. We didn't know if you were working the fair either. Thank God. You have to be up on the hot sun. You cut your hair too. You had a haircut.
No, I actually only did my bangs.
Check you out. Check you out.
I just checked my phone.
I don't try calling you or texting you, Stephanie, because it'll take like a. You can't leave a voicemail. It's full. So I figure your text messages are full too, so I don't bug you anymore.
Sure cuts down on the spam calls.
I guess so. Okay. So now we got to take the 3 cats we have at the yard. And a squirrel to the vet.
I was sad to hear about Jackie, the bald eagle.
And
I followed them. Never taken a squirrel to a vet before.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting Friday.
Yeah.
We got to drop off the cats in the morning because they're going to get fixed. And he's like, we got to keep them overnight with us in the morning.
Yeah, you got to make sure they're okay.
They're stray cats.
You still got to
They'll
make sure.
figure it out.
Nothing crazy, but
Veronica.
So you gonna babysit Pepper then?
Yeah. Just put her in
You
a.
couldn't handle her.
Just put the strays in a room by themselves. And then, thank you.
I'm not putting no strays in the house. They can stay outside.
No, they're recovering from surgery.
there's that there.
No,
All right, thanks.
we don't need any more animals in the house. We have a rabbit, we have a cat, we have a squirrel, we have a dog, we have turtles.
I'm gonna pay for a ticket to go to your wildlife refuge
Beverly.
instead of the one in Arizona I'm going to.
You can drive through that one. Hey,
Did you turn the
Do what?
there's one that you can actually drive through too.
Where's that one?
In Arizona, you can. Well, I think it's a zoo. You can drive. It's a wildlife one too that you can drive through it. But you have to have your windows closed, something like that, or whatever. But
Oh, we got the tree. You got it? Yeah. Ours says
Yeah, since there's nothing, so usually it's like if they have issues up here, well, right here, it's not looking good, so I'll just be this new business.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Today is Monday, August 10th, 2026. The time is now 6:02 in the evening. We are here at the Mesilla Town Hall for our regularly scheduled Board of Trustees meeting. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please stand. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is roll call and determination of a quorum. Excuse me. Gloria, if you would, please.
Mayor Hernandez.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Pierce. Here. Cadena.
Present.
Trustee Garcia.
Here.
Trustee Nevares.
Present.
Great, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by trustee Nevada, seconded by trustee Garcia. And I do have a change that needs to be made on the agenda. And that is item 4A, the BOT meeting minutes that were in the agenda packet. Need to be removed because they were the wrong date that was added to the packet. So that does need to be done, and those will be brought forward at the next BOT meeting. So I do have that amendment to the agenda. Right, yeah, it's the wrong set of minutes. Yeah, the wrong set of minutes that were added to it.
You need a second?
No, that's just an amendment. Is there any other changes to the agenda? All right, then with the motion on the floor by trustee Nevadas, seconded by trustee Garcia, for approval of the agenda, and it has been amended to remove item 4A. Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Pierce.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena.
Yes.
Trustee Garcia.
Yes.
Trustee Nevares.
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of the agenda as it has been amended with the removal of item 4A. Next item on the agenda, item 4 for approval of the consent agenda. That it does include the purchase requisition for SMA Colonias Emergency Payment for $10,381.67. Purchase requisition for Cobb Finley for the Mesilla Water Lines project for $54,509.70. Purchase order for Milestone Construction for signage for our EV charging stations, $1,295.28. I can have a motion on the floor, please.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by trustee Garcia. And if there is no discussion or objection, the motion will carry as it has been presented. Thank you very much for approval of the consent agenda that does include purchase requisition for SMA, purchase requisition for Cobb Finley, and a purchase order for Milestone Construction. Next item on the agenda is item number 5, staff updates and staff comments. We'll start with the Marshal's Department.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees. First off, I'd like to start by Lieutenant Diaz submitted his 2-week notice. He's leaving us to pursue a career in Tucson, not in the LE field. His last day will be August 15th. I just want to recognize him and thank him for the hard work he's done for the past 5 years. He actually hit his 5-year mark yesterday. Instrumental to the department, the growth, the intern program. all around leadership. So sad to see him go, but hope his new career he flourishes in. Secondly, well, two on RGPI. They just added a middle school class there, and then they're going to do an auxiliary school. So we had a meeting with Las Cruces Public Schools last week for all the first responders, just a joint meeting that they're going to try to do every 6 months now. They're looking into putting actual school lights there, flashing lights, because right now it's just a sign that we all know people speed there, so they're not going to see from 8 to 9 and 3 to 4. So they're going to look at that and hopefully come present to you guys here in the future. With the new students there, there's different release dates. So we've been trying to figure out traffic congestion because the parents are lining up like they do at Zia, right there on Bouts, and right at the curve over the ditch, it's becoming a hazard. So right now we're having them enter through the parking lot where they're designated to, and then they're lining up on the rock side right here. So they have 2 lines. So that alleviates the traffic jam on the curve, or doesn't hinder it for more than a couple minutes. Still, the first week at Zia was a little rough because they did the construction for their pass through that they're trying to do on the back end of the school. So trying to deal with that traffic issue, which is there all the time, but it was just a little added headache the first week. What else? Still patrolling the areas, checking the trails. I haven't heard anything. If you guys hear anything, please email me. I think Trustee Garcia. Ready for the fiesta, parade, get the interns to do the crosswalk again. Intern program, we just added 5 more, and we're hoping to add some more once school starts, but we're still sitting at 20 plus interns, which is probably the most we've ever had in the program history. We're able to break off. Now there's intel unit, evidence unit on top of the regular crime scene units. So it's a plus in my book. Waiting for law enforcement fund to hit so I can do some repairs on one Durango, and then hopefully order 2 more units so we can start cycling out the Chargers. They're over 100,000 miles. And then the issues that we've been having with the Dodges, probably going to phase towards Ford Explorers from now on. So that's about it. I'll stand for any questions, concerns.
I have questions.
Yes, ma'am.
We have 2 SROs, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So does one stay here?
One's full at RGPI, one's full at Zia. If a call comes out at Missy Elementary and they're not busy, they'll handle it. If not, patrol does.
They want to let us have a 3rd one?
Even in the city, there's not SROs at the elementary school because that'd be funding from Las Cruces Public Schools to have one full-time at the elementary school.
Well, I do have a good comment for you. I did get a bunch of phone calls that your night crew their residents are happy because they go spotlighting down the road. And I've heard a couple of them say that if they see somebody, they'll stop and back up and like that. So I will tell you, please tell them thank you for doing that. But the residents are speaking up about them with the lights. They're not complaining about it. They're actually like, wow.
Yeah,
it's actually happening.
that's the easiest way we can be visible. Unless we're hunting someone, we're going to be blacked out, but
Yeah, no, they're really happy about it.
appreciate
So
it.
thank you for that.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marshall. Fire Chief.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Board. Been a busy couple of weeks. This weekend, we graduated the latest academy. We've got 7 new firefighters. 3 of them are EMT certified, and 1 is getting her certification very quickly. We also are now at 1,217 calls for the year. Last year, we had 1,220 for the entire year. So in 3 more calls, we will equal what we did last year. So pretty busy time. Currently, we have an engine crew at a structure fire in the county helping out over there with the whole auto aid thing. So city, county, and us are all there, which is good. There was something else. I do have, I'm going to start doing one other thing here. I get these letters and cards fairly frequently from citizens that we've helped, and I thought we should celebrate them. So when I get one, I'll bring it in front of you. So this one is addressed to Kelly and Raphael. So Kelly's one of our firefighters and Raphael's one of our lieutenants. And it says, for Kelly and Raphael, my deepest appreciation for the attention and care shown to me on the morning of Tuesday, June 16th, 2026, you transported me to Memorial Hospital as I was having a cardiac event. All turned out well. So it was nice that somebody made the effort. I mean, we still have somebody comes by once a month and brings us snacks to the fire station. Crews are doing. So pretty happy with the people that we have. On an administrative side, we've been working on the procedures and guidelines so we can move to a real 4896 for the firefighters when we're able to onboard those people that the county has approved for us. So with that grant, that's a lot of paperwork, and it's going to be a lot of fun with payroll because they've never done anything like that before. So other than that, I stand for any questions. Can I make a reminder real quick, just to anybody that's here, we do have the smoke alarms for homes, and we do help out with house numbers and building numbers if you need them. So I keep a bunch of the building numbers at the fire station. If you need them, we will come and put them up. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Sorga, Public Works.
Good evening, Board, Mayor, members of the public. I got a few things. I haven't been here the last couple of weeks, so I got a little bit to roll by. The past month or so that I've been gone, we've had our water tank cleaned and inspected. I'll be glad to report that. That's always we always get a good report out of that, out of the cleaning and inspection of our tank, and nothing bad ever comes out of it, like that's been going out in the surrounding areas with us. So that's always a good thing. Also, too, within the next couple of months, of myself and Brianna had a meeting with Cobb and Finley, and we will be starting the copper and lead service line inventory. We did pick some areas that we're gonna. There's three areas that we're gonna start off with, but when it comes a little bit closer to that, we'll go ahead and Cobb and Finley will come in here with the assistance of myself, and we'll be doing a presentation to the public so that way they are aware what is going to be going on and what we'll be doing when we are out in the field with the residents and doing some locating and identifying of the lead and copper for the New Mexico Environmental Department, the lead and copper rule. What else do we have? We're tackling a bunch of weeds and still like that, potholes. The crew did go out and we were out through Snow Road, Bowman, McDowell, San Albino, Santiago. We did cover a bunch of potholes, and I still running through a list that I made up of it, so we can keep on going on that. The weeds, the weeds are still out there, and we're tackling it little by little. And also, like Ben too, we'll start getting ready for the fiesta, the plaza, get that ready, Avenue, the whole works, and get ready for that last fiesta. And I stand for any questions.
I have a question. What is that copper thing that you were just saying?
The lead and copper rule.
Yeah.
It's something that it's a new rule that the environmental department it's come up, that we have to identify our water system, all our services. We have to identify it to see if there's any lead or copper in it, because they're wanting to do away with the lead. So eventually, as the process goes on, everything will be identified. But as we start off, only 10% of our services have to be identified by 2027. So that's why it's coming pretty quick.
So the time frame is until 2027.
For the 10%, yes. Mm-hmm. And
Continue after that.
it's going to continue. It's going to continue after that until we identify every single service that we have.
And these are the infrastructure that's owned by the town of Mesilla? That's-
By the town and also by the, we will be, again, we don't know how it's gonna work out yet with the Cobb and Finley. Again, when it comes to that time, we will present to the public, but it has to be in conjunction with the residents also too, because NMDA does want to know what's on the customer side also too.
Because some of the older structures probably.
Yes. Mhm.
And it is the end result of this is to have replacing of these.
Yes, the end results, and even on the customer side, if there's gonna be assistance needed, there, we will get information out to the public, for how. Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Community Development, Mr. Salazar.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees. We have, excuse me. Right now, we are starting with our software, iWorks. That's coming along very well. Right now, we are scheduled for the end of September to be done with it. We've already started using it. Some of the cases already been being inputted into the computer. I can't wait to finish it and then bring it up for you guys, for you all to review. I think it's a very good tool. It kind of closes the loop of communications between community development department heads and codes, so we're all on the same page. So again, that one should be done by September. As soon as we're done with that, we'll be starting the business add-on or the business module, and similar to that, it's gonna be up to 90 days that the contract allows us to work with iWorks to implement that and get that started and going. So again, we're excited to do that and get that taken care of. Historic preservation, we are working on the schedule August 17th for a hearing, some hearings for regarding some nominations for our next local registry nominations. I'd like to thank Trustee Johnson, Pro Tem Johnson Burek. She shared some information regarding on one of the nominations, so that was very good, interesting information. But that's going to be one on top of that. Also, on the 17th, we are going to have a public hearing regarding some of the amendments that we've been working with the planning and zoning, just some changes for court enforcement and land use, and that also is scheduled for the 17th. As the department heads are mentioned, we do have an event. As I say, September is coming up. We do have I sent a calendar invites today for the Thursday, I believe it was, at 2 p.m. We'll be getting together, and hopefully we can start in advance with plenty of time so we can address or accommodate or plan or support any of that for the event to make that successful. Code enforcement, I do have Officer Ramirez out there patrolling the town. There are some, he is addressing all the calls. He is getting quite a few calls. Animal control, a lot of stray cats right now. This last house, he advised that he was called for a residence with a community. They call community cat areas, and generally what happens with animal shelter, they have this programs called TNR, trap and release, and there are certain residents or certain owners of the properties that volunteer their time and their money and all that to feed these cats and such and such. But my understanding is the gentleman that has been doing this is either ill or no longer able to take care of this. So the question remains, who's going to take responsibility for these community cats? And it's an average of more than 20 plus cats. If we impound those cats, which generally is basically what we do, impound those cats, obviously the town will have to pay the shelter, the impound fee, and it gets expensive. It gets expensive, and so we need to. I need to start thinking about creating some kind of MOU with the shelter, or bring it up to the board for advice. But there's a lot of fees that we're absorbing as the town that the owners should be taking responsibility for that. If the animal shelter has those programs, what's going to happen in this instance to where they are able to create or allow the community cats, what happens when it's no longer available or the cats are no longer. So it's something that I'm going to have to take a look at. It's also with impound fees. There are some properties. This could have been an instant to where a owner of an animal would be like to relinquish or give up ownership or surrender their animal. We would pick it up, we take it to the shelter, but there's no means for them to absorb or to pay for those fees, right? We, the town, have been absorbing those fees for some time now. So again, it's something else we're gonna be working on. Also, as Mr. Lorenzo mentioned, there are a lot of weeds. We are addressing a lot of weeds. Again, it's another one of those things with our code where, is a weeds the same regulations in residential use, in commercial use, in historic, district use versus the ones out in agricultural use, right? So some of the weeds I mentioned, I believe that's last meeting I was here. It's not the same, but the code just talks about weeds, rubbish, and such, but it doesn't really define it. It's something that the commission and myself have been talking about that we need to, get together and come up with some kind of resolution and such like that. Generally, in agricultural use, the flexibility, I guess you want to talk about, but a lot of the ranchers like to leave some type of vegetation on their property, and it helps with a lot of the moisture, retain some of the moisture on the soil, and also to erosion, right, for the wind, and it takes a lot of the stuff away. But what happens when there's no properties that are being used in the farmland, it's vacant, it's dirt, comes the wind, it comes erosion, now comes the dirt, so it's a compounding issue, and most of it, goes back to a lack of water. The lack of water in this community is getting more and more, it's causing more and more of an impact. Along with the water, the code enforcement officer was instructed, I instructed him to spend some time in the Mesilla Park area. Is it Mesilla Park? Yeah, I must make sure I get it right. We had one call a while back. I don't know, I mentioned it the last couple of times. We had one call, it was in May, that I know there was a tree, it was in bad condition. There was an incident where the limb broke and, could have caused some damage, almost hurt somebody, in my understanding. And so the code enforcement officer went out there and he addressed it, followed up with the resident, and it took a week or two, or maybe a little bit longer, but it was done. It got done. So I also instructed to continue to patrol the areas in case there's any other hazards in that subdivision or that zone that could cause potentially the same problem. So he went out there, he came back and he advised that, there are a lot of homes that do have a lot of trees in bad condition. I went out there myself and did realize that, it's again, it could be lack of water, it could be EBID, it could be, I don't know, they have irrigation rights and such, but leading to this, but, a lot of the vegetation out there in this area is starting to die. Right. And it worries me because, to me, whenever I think about Mesilla Park, I think about huge trees, luscious greenery, shrubbery, and it's just a beautiful place. It's just a beautiful place. So whenever I went out there, there was a lot of trees that are dying. Some of them already dead. It was very concerning. So he went out, I asked him to, I was not do the whole subdivision, to pick some of the worst homes out there, and get in contact with them, and then so we can start addressing and hopefully start turning around some of this old trees. And so he did. He sent out a letter. He was I told him to take initiative and get it done. He sought those homes, sent those letters out, and I advised them that, what's going on with something that I came across when myself and Public Works went out there with the first initial call, that after reviewing that call, one of the things Mr. Public Works, Mr. Lorenzo, asked me, he says, so who's responsible for these trees? Who's responsible to take care of these trees? And I said, well, I don't know. The very first thing is something that I got when I got there is I saw the trees. They're all about the same age and they're all in the same spot, right? They're all the same difference, same distance from the road as most of them. They're accumulated on the same spot. So that was my first indication that, it's possible that Mesilla is responsible for these trees, right? And so luckily, we addressed the trees that was already in danger. And so I explained this to the code officers. When we send this letter out, it's the initial contact. We want to, create that communication. Let them know there's possibility that, there's hazards in the area and such. And then if you have any questions, concerns, so please give us a call. And he's been answering some calls. I myself have not spoken to anybody about the letter other than a young lady last Friday stopped by my office, and we had a good conversation and I explained to her what the outcome, what the reason was for us being involved in the Mesilla Park area. So that's in a nutshell. That's what's happening right now in Mesilla Park. Mesilla, keep thinking. And I think there's a lot more other information I'd like to share. I mean, I don't want to take up this time for staff comments, but I think me and the mayor were talking. I think it was a good idea to put together or do a work session, so that way we can bring all the information that I have gathered, all the information that the attorney, hopefully by then, it's been a couple of weeks he's been reviewing this case, and as far as how do we resolve this, and I like to bring it up. It's been something that I think Mesilla was not aware of it because there's no physical boundary lines. It's just a pavement. So me, again, after reading some of the minutes, some of the subdivisions plats, it's supposed to be a 50-foot roadway. It's supposed to be a 50-foot wide roadway, and apparently it's only about 20 feet or so. I didn't go out to measure it, but it's pretty low. In lieu of these trees, one of my first thing is, it's going downhill quick because of the water, and I get that. But the second thing is if a home happens to catch on fire, we're gonna have that whole subdivision is in trouble. We do have a lot of trees like that could spread very, very easily and very, very quickly. Again, one of the other reasons, other than the safety of maybe strong winds, breaking some limbs, falling on cars, falling on a pedestrian, a kid, a child, so the liability that Mesilla, because it falls under our right of way, the liability of Mesilla, I think it's important. It's huge. So one of the reasons we were asking for cooperation from these residents. My understanding was 32 letters that were sent out. There's a few of them that are coming out that are saying thank you for doing it. Others are saying are concerned, got questions, which what we wanted. And if you continue to have any questions, please contact the code officer first and myself. But it wasn't meant to, the letter, my understanding is those letters were seemed to be enforcing all the trees in Mesilla, and it's not necessarily true. Not all the dried up trees are in the right of way. There's a lot of other ones that still needs to be taken care of. Other than that, I think that was the last thing I had prepared for tonight, but I stand by for any questions.
I have a question or a comment. You mentioned roadways. Can you identify the roadways that you're looking at?
Can identify roadways? Oh, Capri Arc. Capri Arc. Oh, I'm sorry, Capri Road. Yeah, that was the first one because that's where the tree initially a call was at, and then we noticed there's a lot of other trees.
There's a lot of dry vegetation and trees.
Yeah.
That is a fire hazard. I mean,
Correct.
that is in California when it starts fires and so.
And it can happen. I mean, it's scary, and now that we know about it, we need to act.
We don't know for sure, but it's on the right of way in Mesilla.
It is for sure in the right of way in Mesilla.
It's something that's on us. You need to address.
Correct.
All right.
But one thing that I didn't mention, I apologize, is a lot of the properties, because there's no defining line, a lot of the properties in Capri Arc, and most of that, there's 4 subdivisions there, have developed their property up to the pavement. So what happens is, because it's developed up to the pavement, they encroached on the Mesilla's right of way anywhere between 10, 15, maybe even more feet. So there's a lot of development already in that, right? And that, you want to call it a parkway, you want to call it a right-of-way easement or not. So that's why we saw legal, why we saw, because what do we do? Where do we go from here, right? So.
It'd be interesting to find out what the town can do
Correct.
if there's an encroachment on the right of way.
Yeah, and that there, it's again, right now, we're not ready for it. The attorney's getting together some information. But for now, letters were sent out to address the fire hazard, the limbs, and contact information in case residents are concerned about whose responsibility for the trees. And those in itself, we're we're not going to address until we get, the board of trustees, our attorneys, and everybody else involved on what to do. Possibly a public hearing, possibly a work session, or whatever we need to go as far as that goes.
As a result, we need to have a plan to deal with this.
There's many avenues once we review all the information, there's many avenues that not many, I want to say 3 avenues that I know of right now that we can approach. Is one, we allow the residents to take ownership of that property, but from legal aspects, it's I don't know, the anti-donations, we're not supposed to be giving the property to the owners, but we can sell it to them. Leasing it, another one was brought up, those kinds of things. But again, right now, all that is just all that information that we're not quite ready to give.
Well, I look forward.
Yeah, that's why it's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, I have several questions. One, we have not gotten when our black shop meeting is. When's our next meeting?
No, there's going to be a poll. I thought.
No, we have-
From the
yeah,
last
we have-
meeting, they said they were going to do a poll again.
Google poll, and we haven't received it yet.
A legal poll?
For the facts, the next meeting.
Oh, yes.
We have not received one at all,
Okay.
so I don't want that.
At our last meeting, from staff, I understood that there would be a doodle poll going out to the members. To
I understand.
identify a date and time.
Right. And we have
I
not.
was wondering about how come we haven't done that by far.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had been out of commission, so I didn't, follow up with that.
I wanted to follow up with that. And then, Queen of Messia, what's the status on that one?
Which one?
Queen of Messia.
Queen of Lucia? That's one of the reasons why we're having a meeting. My understanding it was being put together, but as far as any other information in that's why one of the reasons why the meeting, I'm scheduling this meeting this Thursday to get more information on that.
Okay, that's Thursday, okay. And for the Messia Park trees, I really wish we would have talked about this before the letter's being sent, because I know one of the residents did reach out to you, so the open communication was open already. You and I discussed that. So the open communication was there. That was our concerns, was the trees. So I hope it's not a laughing matter anymore, because we do have some residents upset. I mean, if you read the letter, I think we all got it, there's kind of a threat. You got 14 days, so you got people stressing out there now of like, how am I going to afford this? How am I going to do this? And people don't know who to go and talk to anymore because they have a concern and then they get this in the mail. You lose the trust there. If this would have came up first and we could have discussed it back months ago when I brought it to your attention and I had the residents myself tell them to talk to you, and then it kind of just died off. And I get it, we get busy. Like, I get it, but I really wish we would have went this route instead of having this letter to them. And then we could have worked with the community, because now we're gonna have to regain their trust back. So that's all I have to say about that.
Any other questions for me?
Just real quick, because of that, with in note on the letter itself, and I think that's one of the biggest questions that's kind of up in the air to be answered. And if you could just touch on that, is where it does say that action to these violations, as stated above, must be taken, or not must be, but should be taken within 14 days. Can you give direction on that?
Sure. That, our town code allows or gives the authority to the code enforcement officer to abate a violation and allow 30 days to fix it, to remedy it, right? It's not a good idea. It's not common practice for a code enforcement officer to give the full 30 days from his initial contact with the property owner. Only because if in case there are any questions arise or anything like that, there's no follow-up. You're not going to show up. Hey, I already told you 30 days later, how come it's not done? And then it could have been multiple reasons why it didn't get done. It didn't get addressed. So there's no contact. So typically, depending on the violation, you allow 7, 14, 24 days. It's up to the discretion of the code enforcement officer, whatever he's seeing there at the time. So the very last quote on that letter is a typical quote that you would give. It's kind of like a legality part of it. You would give it any letter that you send out. It's just like forget exactly the exact terms, but pretty much when it says any failure to communicate, to contact, could result in further or legal action and such. And that's, again, he is a new code enforcement officer. I do apologize. I did not read the letter, but I did instruct him to go out there and make sure that to abate any violations, because we were concerned, what was brought here by one of the residents, and we didn't want it happening to anybody else, especially me finding out that it's a possibility of liability with the town. So again, he sent that out, established communications and my direction, and then I did explain to him that the easement or right-of-way issue, that in the case there are any residents that contact them, that we know about that, and then those are not going to be addressed at this time.
Yeah, but the code wasn't on the letter either.
I'm sorry?
The violation wasn't on the letter. It just said a section so and so. Most times when we get letters, they usually have the ordinance on there.
Correct. I got it now. I got it now. I do realize that because he is a new code enforcement officer, I need to pay a little bit more attention to this, the wording of the letters and stuff like that. It wasn't meant to, alarm anybody of the residents, but just don't realize that the community development, myself, I know the staff, the mayor, this board, we are here to look out for our community, right? And many things. I mean, it was really disheartening. We haven't gone through Mesilla Farms. Apologize again. It's that clear. It was to be not just that one in particular, but all that area used to be beautiful, and it's disheartening because it's dying. And those trees have been there for 50 plus years, and they don't die from one day to another. They're slowly going away. And now I'm told that you can't even, it's illegal to purchase mulberry trees and replant them. Them trees themselves should be considered protected, and we need to do something. Even if it's Messia's responsibility, the board's responsibility, we just need to do something with them, right? The evaluation of your homes will depreciate because the area is starting to get, drier and drier. You're losing the trees, that mentioned like the fire. There's very poor drainage. He sent me some pictures. There's some areas there that are very, very poor drainage that I want to address. Looking at this, for the longest times, R1, that area was known to be a non-conforming properties. I think I mentioned that a couple of times. Well, going reviewing some of this stuff, some of these subdivisions, some of these minutes, well, there's only 1 out of 3 subdivisions that was approved by Mesilla itself, and they were given a variance. They were given a variance to allow smaller lots to be able to develop. So all these years that we've been telling you can't develop your property, nobody really looked into it. So really all I'm doing is bringing all this information up that I'm finding so we can address it. Anywho, again, I didn't see the letter, but those, again, it was my direction. I didn't tell me go out there. I don't want any more limbs or a possibility of any limbs falling on anybody or hurting anybody. We took care of that one. There's another one that we took care of. The resident was more than happy to comply. The resident I spoke to on Friday, I think she was at the end of our meeting, she was happy with my potential recommendations on what we should do. But definitely is not. We're not finishing or doing anything until we get everybody's input to include our attorney.
That's not a laughing matter.
No, and one of the things I mentioned, to the mayor is the chain of command, right? I mean, we say here all the time, the chain of command. And I know, sometimes residents, I don't know if it's fear or upset or just don't want to talk to you. You know what I mean? But again, when the letter came out, I didn't get one phone call. And the court officer got some today, and maybe he got 1 or 2 afterwards. But during the time the letter came out, I didn't talk to anybody. It wasn't anybody that I spoke with. So
Anywho,
and
you told me, and then I told you, and then you went.
Yeah, I know.
Things, so it was. We started from the bottom, we were going down. And I point the residents to you. So.
But my concern is, I mean, I know, again, all this needs to be, because my concern is, when a code enforcement, recently I took over the code enforcement department. It was in July, right? I mean, this has been since May. I know the Marshal's Department, the Code Department, and Public Works are struggling, with this tree, because this is actually older than May, struggling with this. But whenever you start to enforce, my municipal code as best as we can, we are going to come up with some of the residents that do have questions or concerns. And that's why they need to contact us. So I can explain. When the resident came in and had a meeting with me, they were, it was all understand. It was all cleared up. put it that way. And I welcome them to talk to me. I'm here to help them, to support them. But at the same time, that area needs to get the condition of that subdivision is important. And I'm worried that those trees are going to cause a fire or they're going to fall on somebody. So I stand by.
Going back to the TNR cat colony,
Mhm.
without providing the specific address, sorry. Where is the location?
You know, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, the code officer spoke about that maybe 30 minutes before we came in here, and there wasn't an address that I asked, but I'm sure I can find that out. I don't know where that is just yet.
I'll email you because obviously if they get impounded, they're just going to be euthanized. And I can reach out to some of the animal welfare organizations. And there are people that can take care of colonies when something
Okay.
like this happens. And
Thank you.
it's not their fault. It's
course not.
irresponsible human beings.
And I would love to explain what TNR is all about and why it works and why it's just, I don't want to take up much time with that.
It's because on Colonia, Calle de Colonia, sorry, right on the lateral, there's a feeding station and somebody provides food for the cats. I mean, I haven't seen him in a while, but he would come by and put food in the bowl. I mean, on a regular basis for the cats. So I don't know if it's one property or just along some areas where the cats congregate. But there was somebody coming in. It's right up by the bridge on Calle de Colon. There was a feed, or there probably still is a feeding area.
See,
And they die off. I mean, their average lifespan for a feral is 5 years because of what they.
anything, there's so many things, the
Yeah,
dangers.
They don't get care, they don't get treatment, so they eventually end up dying off. But yeah, I'll email you and see if I get that information.
All right. I believe that the code officer
Horrible lives.
mentioned that the family member of the property owner or the one that, taking care of the cats, that he wanted just to buy some traps, that he was going to find a home for them. So I don't know exactly, what's going to happen with that, but again, I'll get some more information. But, and TNR works real good, but it's also, you have to be very careful because one of the things you don't want to do is feed stray cats without an actual program. Because if you feed stray cats, it defeats what TNR is trying to do, right? TNR is trying to do trap, neuter, or spay and release. And if you take away the neuter or anything, they're just going to continue to reproduce this because they're domestic animals, but they're also semi-wild. So an animal, just like anything, will progress and the population will grow. There's plenty of ample food or water, somewhere for them to hide. So they all just spike up. So you feed these cats, they're going to keep on having babies because they're finding nutrition somewhere. TNR is the opposite. TNR replaces the animal itself, but it's got to be a controlled environment to where all the resources it has is limited. So you're able to sustain 20 cats in a certain environment, that those 20 cats will survive and they will continue. But if you introduce one more cat into that aspect, then one of them is going to have, or maybe the whole group is going to suffer because now you're consuming something that generally 20 cats need. Right? And then you talk about the territorial and some of these alpha males or the alpha cats run off all the other cats. It's a good program, but you just really got to take care of it. Any other questions, concerns?
Anything else, trustees?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salazar. Next, finance, Ms. Maya.
Something to your attention, I don't know if you have any complaints, because the bills are sometimes, residents aren't getting them. But what they're doing now is, what the post office was doing, all of the Messia mail was staying here, and they would just put it in their boxes. Now it was hurting their volume, and you know how they're closing post offices. Now they have to send everything to El Paso. And we're getting a lot of the MIT cards back. Forwarded, unable to deliver. So back to your attention, we're putting up another notice. Let's try to push the email. the email billing. Because it would prevent a lot of late notices and things like that. So we just want to encourage everybody to sign up for the email, to opt in for it. And it's been working, it's growing, the number is growing. So also a reminder, if a neighbor request comes in and requests input from the trustee, I will forward that to you. You can send that back as soon as possible. I know, like we say, everybody gets busy, but it's important that we respond on time. Also, if almost everybody has responded that they're attending the New Mexico Municipal League. If you're planning to attend, please let me know. I'd like to know by Friday at the latest, and mark your program, the section that you want to attend, the sessions you want to attend. Okay. Auditors have sent us I guess it's a preliminary item that they need. Then they randomly start choosing what they want to sample. And then we send them. So we will be having a meeting, an entrance meeting on October 13th. That's when they start their on-site testing. Okay, so we will keep you informed. That's how we're doing. Does anyone have any questions?
I do. On your staff wise, I know I called about Bill because I was like, it's zero, it's never zero. But I knew I had paid it, and I was talking to him on the phone, and he sounded a little down. And I told him, he kept apologizing, and I told him it's not your fault. He had explained to me what happened. So if you can let him know that this is not to take it personally. I didn't lecture him or anything. I just told him, hey, it's not your fault. Just explain it to him. But he's like, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's not your fault. But just, if you don't mind, please just keep reminding him, encourage him that to not to get down, that this isn't his fault, that they changed the process on it. But he is helping him out and everything on there, but please just encourage him that this is not his, this isn't his problem, please.
Yeah, and today I went to the post office and we had a stack of bills that came back. So, and it's because they knew what box that was there, which box belongs to who. So they were just putting the bills in there. Now, we need the information update. A lot of them have wrong information. PO boxes, and like I told our getting these all back in was dark because we knew which El Paso just put the little sticker on them. So just a reminder, update the information. And I'm stressing to everybody here, please update your information, and you may want to opt into the email. It's working really well. Because you'll get all correspondence out.
You can ask Rudy to send,
We're gonna meet with Rudy.
if he can just throw a letter or something on there, but
I don't know if you can do that, but, because it comes from, I don't know if legally you can do that. Since it's a United States Post Office, there's some stuff you can't put in their boxes. So if you can spread the word, and if everybody can spread the word, it'll get out.
I just don't want to hurt the guy in the front. What is he doing? He's probably getting the majority of the yelling.
He gets bombarded, and that's what happens. It's always the first person you see or talk to is the one that's gonna get it.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Fine. Next item on the agenda is item number 6, public input on cases. This is where we allow the public to provide input on the cases that are being heard this evening. So if there's any input on items 7A or 7B, if you would step to the podium and state your name for the record. Seeing as there is none, we'll move right into our next agenda item, which is 7A for discussion, our public. So I put public hearing dates, but it's not public hearing, it's the work session dates. I knew I was messing up on that. Which some of those work sessions will have public hearings attached, so. I was wondering why and I do want to say, trustees, I do apologize because I did miss that. Mayor Pro Tem, I noticed that you went in and filled out the poll that I sent this afternoon, but as I was going through, I was like, what's going on here? Oh, that's what I missed. So you all have, because in the last meeting I said that I was going to send out the poll. for follow-up on the best dates to do that. And so I did send that out today with that. So I know that I do have Mayor Pro Tem filled that out as that. So if you all, I mean, we can have a discussion on those dates that are proposed right now, if you want, to see. I know that the Mayor Pro Tem said that she was not going to be available for the proposed nuisance as well as the proposed municipal streets on those specific dates. So 9/10 or 11 and 8/20 and 8/21, but the 8/27 and 9/3 worked well.
We're all doing them right now.
So my phone and my email's gonna start going ding ding ding.
Yeah.
As I had mentioned, so with those dates, what we're looking at, just in for the public on that side, is that we're looking at scheduling work sessions with the Board of Trustees specifically for ordinance and code updates. And typically with work sessions, a lot of the times what we do is we schedule them before the meetings occur. But some of these work sessions are going to require quite a bit more time and in-depth discussion. So we want to be able to allow the Board of Trustees the ample time in order to review, as well as to have that information from staff to ask plenty of questions and ensure that we get everything moving within a timely fashion, and not feel like it's so rushed to try to get it done within an hour's worth of time or even an hour or 2 hours worth of time, but that there's not that. So there's 4 different ordinances and updates that we're looking at. The nuisance ordinance update, and that was proposed to be heard next Thursday and Friday. So, I mean, or Thursday or Friday on that. So that would be dependent upon everybody's availability on that. The noise ordinance update, which we had a preliminary discussion on and a public hearing already on that. We would be the following week on August 27th or the 28th, depending upon availability. And with that, we know what I do want to note is that with these ordinances and the work sessions, is that that's probably going to be a few work sessions that we do in specific with these guys, because there's a lot of different details that need to be discussed and talked about, and it's not something that's going to be decided overnight on that. The third work session is for the University Avenue corridor, but I also in the email that I sent out to the trustees in that discussion, I'd like to include the Mesilla Park neighborhoods in that, which would include looking at and having discussions on what was discussed earlier with the green spaces and the parkways, but also looking at a full potential designation for, as we've talked about in the past, for the Mesilla Park neighborhood to have historical designation through the town. And that way we can follow through with that side as well, especially now that a lot of those neighborhoods are well over the 50-year-old period for homes and historic designation. The proposed dates on that were September 3rd and 4th. So on that side, and then the last one was for a review of municipal streets, in specific looking at one-way street potentials down some of our narrow roads in the historic core more than anything, and doing that with I will say with the University and Mesilla Park neighborhoods in specific, as well as the municipal streets and one-ways. The intent is to either walk door to door and hand out flyers to everybody in those neighborhoods, or to send out a mailing, email, over communicate that we're doing these to get that information out on that whenever that date is chosen. I do have a newsletter that is going out. Hopefully by the end of this week, it should be printed and sent with that newsletter, and it'll also be at the post office. I did work with them at the post office to be able to have a box there to share all of our newsletters and start doing those more regularly. But that'll also have those dates posted along with once I get the feedback from the trustees, which it sounds like everybody signed in and took that poll right now. But that's what we're planning on for those work session dates, and the times will be. That's one thing that I will note. The times will be in the afternoons into the evening on those dates whenever they're chosen. So that way it allows the public the opportunity to listen in on the discussion, but even more so on some of these, especially like I say, because we did a public hearing for the noise ordinance, which we'll probably do another public hearing once we start moving that ordinance along in specific. But I'll probably post a public hearing notice for the University Avenue, as well as the Mesilla Park neighborhood, as well as the municipal streets for those two specific work sessions. That way it allows the public the opportunity to give input, especially before the trustees have that discussion on and moving forward, just to open that up a little bit more because we want to have that communication in general on that. Is there discussion?
Well, the week of the 27th and 28th is when we have the New Mexico
The
Municipal,
municipal
League.
league.
I don't know if what time we're gonna be done with that, but okay. I mean, and then for me, it's really hard to do it on Fridays. So Thursdays would probably work better, but you can't meet for 2 of those weeks.
Yeah, I'll be out of town.
You know, Fridays are my best days. I got you on that one.
The Saturday at 6 was kind
What's that?
of, I know one of them had a Saturday at 6 p.m.
Oh, did I click on a Saturday?
Yeah, you
Oh,
put
no,
that
that was a.
And I
That
was
was-
like,
no, that
what
was a-
is
that-
the mayor?
That was an accident. Because I tried to do
Friday.
Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, I think you meant to put Thursday and Friday, you put Friday and Saturday.
Okay. Those things. You get on a roll sometimes. I'll go back and review that then on that side. I apologize on that.
Dates are correct, aren't they? 9 and 11.
And on the week of the municipal league conference, on that date, if we did the 27th, the conference is coming to an end on the 27th. So typically that night is just a social gathering of some sort. So I'm personally okay with missing that last social gathering. I don't know about you all, but
Okay.
or anybody that is attending.
But you're not available that day.
Yes, that's what I am.
Yeah, I'm
It's
not
that fall.
Or the 3rd and 4th.
I'm here for that too. It's the 10th and 11th.
Oh, okay. Thought you were out 2 weeks.
And the one with the municipal streets, that might be something we can do before a meeting, potentially. That's what I was going to propose on that one because it's going to be a discussion, but it's something that we can probably cut within before and do a public hearing on that as well.
Push back.
Well, we can definitely push back anything. And that's what, if there's not consensus with the majority, then on being available, then we'll definitely push it back. But I think having everybody at the table is highly important. I just know in our last meeting that it was suggested to look at Thursdays and Fridays in specific.
Right.
So
Because I wasn't going to be available on Wednesdays.
yeah, you're not available on Wednesdays,
Mm-mm.
but it sounds like Thursdays is our primary day, right?
Fridays is mine.
Because Johnson Buer, you said that you're not available on some of
Fridays.
these on Fridays, and then Cadena, you just said that you're typically not available on Fridays either. So
I have my grandbabies.
it's like split on that side.
But I mean, I can do all those Thursdays. Any of those Thursdays are awesome. But I don't mind.
Gary has, I mean, Trustee Navarez has Fridays are your best days, right?
That's the day that I don't go, I'm not scheduled to work at NMSU. So. But anyway, I'll work.
Well, I can send out more dates if you have suggestions on dates, or if you tell me when you're not available specifically, then I'll send that out and review it and take a look at it. Try to get them scheduled out between this month and next month.
I'll do that.
Does that work? So if you'll just reach out to me and let me know what dates you're not available in specific, then bless you. Then I'll do that side. That work?
Mhm.
Any other discussion? Or is there, let me also ask, is there any other work sessions that we want to try to hold within the next couple of months? These 4 will probably tie up quite a bit of time and a lot of discussion, I would imagine. The one thing that I would request of the board before we move on to the next agenda item on these specific ordinances, just as I've asked before, if you can get any comments, questions, updates to staff, that would be great. You can send them to myself and I'll get it to staff as well if that works out easier for you. But if you can review that, that would be amazing. I would appreciate that.
Okay, okay.
And I know that will help staff out tremendously as we move forward through reviewing some of these updates and things. And I appreciate the members of the public that have already been sending in information all around, because that just helps in having that available for the trustees. So when we get to the work session, they have that information ahead of time, and it's something for them to review and take into consideration before, or if there is no public hearing or whatever the case may be on that side. All right, next item on the agenda, item 7B for discussion, University Avenue updates. I just wanted to give a couple of updates on here as we're still moving through the process of the DOT continuing the work on University and moving towards their punch. There was the sinkhole that was on Avenida de Mesilla and University. As I mentioned in the last meeting, that has been repaired. That was because when they were doing the boring for the utilities, they hit a distribution line for wastewater, or not wastewater, for stormwater that goes from the storm pump all the way to where it gets emptied out into drain behind the bank at the other end of town. And that's what was causing that. But DOT did go in and repair that pipe, fix it, and replace that. It was brought to my attention a little bit earlier today that there is another spot on the opposite corner that's starting to pop up in that area. On caddy corner from that one, that looks like a little gopher hole right now, but we know how those can get bigger quicker. So I did bring that to DOT's attention. I have not heard a response back yet on that, so I will continually follow up with them to see and get the action taken on that. The final walkthrough for the DOT project has not been scheduled as of yet. The contractor is still addressing items that were on that punch list. I did bring to DOT's attention that there were a few items that I in specific had sent to them that were not on that punch list, and they said that they will be working towards addressing everything. One of the biggest things that they're working on still, and that I'm trying to follow up with them continually, is the drainage from that path that's falling into the private properties. Because I think that's one of the biggest things that needs to be addressed, especially before DOT fully moves away from this project. And that's, I'll stay on top of them to ensure that is, and they have assured me that that's something that they're looking at and doing too. But together we'll take care of that. I am waiting on some estimates for lighting to replace the lighting from our lighting contractor and to look at what that cost may look like. Once I've received that, then we'll take a look at that and I'll bring that to the board. as I had mentioned on that one, there is a grant that would help pay for part of that trail enhancement, if that's what we're doing along that and looking at it as such. And I think that that will tie in even more with when we look at and do this university corridor work session along with the public hearing on that to review input on what the residents may like to see as enhancements along that pathway and area in specific. It was brought up in previous meetings and resurfaced in the last to check in on the possibility of having our town engineer look into the engineering that was done on the that project overall. That's an email as well as a quote that I have there for you to review as it was sent from the engineers. Just as it says, excuse me, in general, is it that, you know, at the end of the day, our town engineer's recommendation is that the town first engage with New Mexico Department of Transportation for those, because the University Avenue is owned and maintained by DOT, and the department may be willing to perform or commission its own evaluation, testing, and corrective action and efforts, which I have already brought that to DOT's attention on that side, because just as we've said in the past, or I brought up in the past, is that this is DOT's property, EBID's property, you know, so they still own those pieces of property, and they're ultimately responsible at the end of the day for the infrastructure that's on there or any damage that may happen. Our agreements with this project is specifically for maintenance on that. But with that in mind, if the board wanted to pursue that and to have our engineers take a look at it as it's proposed here, there would be a base fee that we would be charged of $70,000, and that full assessment and likely cap on that is looking at approximately $200,000 for the full review by our town engineer on that side. That's that paperwork that's there for you per your request. But I'll open up for more discussion or questions that you all may have, or if you'd like me to follow up on anything else in specific.
I have a question. So let's say we do this. If they do find anything, we would have to still bring it back to NMDOT, correct?
Correct.
And then it's going to be up to them if they want to fix it or not fix it, correct? How would that work?
So just as it says, I mean, as it says in this email here, it's the proposed, and verbatim, our proposed evaluation is intended to provide the town with an objective technical assessment of existing conditions, identify potential causes of observed issues, and develop recommendations for corrective actions or additional investigation if warranted. The scope includes document review, field investigations, drainage evaluation, engineering analysis, and preparation of a findings and recommendations report. But there again, how this works specifically is that there again, it's not infrastructure that's owned by the town specifically. So DOT would still have to take care of it and have, I mean, their engineers and their team would have to agree with what our engineers are saying. Otherwise, it becomes a matter that would probably be addressed in court otherwise, I would assume.
So you're saying address in court, but that with the town being a party to?
And this isn't, you know, I haven't talked with the legal team specifically, because as you see, I just received this from the engineering today on this. But if we were to look at it, I mean, it would be, it's DOT there again, it's DOT's infrastructure, not the town's. But it is in the town and the town's perspective, you know, so, and that's one of the biggest things that we look at overall is that, and just as I've had in discussion with residents otherwise, regardless of that, it's still a visible part of our community. And ultimately it directly reflects on the town, and regardless if it's our infrastructure or not. So we want to make sure that it looks good, that it was done correctly, that it's taking care of our residents correctly, so on and so forth. But there's a point where, I don't know, that where we got to take a step back per se. Or maybe just look at it as such, as it was already engineered as that. I don't know how to explain that, because when we look at this, even on that side, the DOT wasn't the engineer on this. They had, oh my gosh, what's the name of that engineer? Bohannon Houston was the engineer. So they had civil engineers. They had all of the environmental people involved in this, and through all of that process of creating the design. So it would be an engineer's word versus an engineer's word at the end of the day.
But the issues that potentially get identified, these are a project that was completely overseen by the New Mexico Department of Transportation. Shouldn't they be doing the follow-up and corrections needed? I mean, as a matter of doing good work for the community, I mean.
And that's why our engineer specifically says that we should work directly with DOT and bring up the issues and say that these are the specific things. So those things that have been said about the drainage, that have been said about the chemicals that are going through on plants, that we follow up continually on those items specifically to ensure that they are addressed, and work with DOT to address those.
I guess it's just hard because when you ask for a list of chemicals, they're like, we have to go through the process just as well as anybody else would have to ever request it and wait, and then an extension. I'm still waiting for a list of chemicals from them that I still haven't received. So, I mean, by the time we sign off on the other day, you know, we're still waiting for our list. So, I mean, unless, you know, I mean, they're actually not, I'm going to say, they're doing a poor job of it, because did you not see how dirty it is and how weedy it is? I mean, it's mosquito heaven over there, you know, but we don't have to sign off right at the end of the day at the
Oh, it's not our punch list. It's not our project. So we're a part of it because it runs through our community, but it's not our project. So ultimately but there is not I want to say that there is something for us to sign off, but I don't believe that there is. But we are at the table because it runs through our community. We're a part of the partners that are in this just as such.
But it not only runs through our community, it's impacting our community and impacting residents that are of the town of Mesilla. So I think that the state should take responsibility to address some of these things, in my view. Okay.
Most definitely. But how do we create that accountability?
well, they're holding us accountable to maintain it because we have that contract. So what happens if we bring those contracts back, because we can change it at any time and readdress it? I mean, they're not pulling their end as of right now. I mean, it's through our town, and I would hate for Lorenzo's team to go out there and pull weeds and stuff like that right now. They're not maintaining it right now. So what happens if we bring those three contracts with full contracts, wherever we have for the maintenance, and we redo them, and so we can hold them a little bit more accountable for it. You know, there's I don't know. It needs to be.
So I think when we look at, and there again, it's just something to look at if we were to review and look at the redoing of the maintenance contracts that we have in place and agreements that we have in place. When we did those years ago, they were brought through the board, they were voted by the board, and they were voted on unanimously by the board.
But it also states we can
So-
change it at any time But also,
But
too, though,
what
remember
you're
what he
gonna
said,
change
that those
something that's
contracts, they only
unanimous.
have one, less than 1 year, I believe, when we asked them when the warranty is gone. Remember, he said once they started, we only have a 1 year left. So by the time we finish and everything, whatever warranties on that thing is done. So if there's a pothole, if there's something wrong with it, it's
No,
gonna
no, no.
come out.
The warrant, and I'm sorry, trustee. The warranty was on the plants. That was a 1 year warranty on the plants that were planted in that.
No, re-ask him again, because we asked him the warranty on the road and everything else on there, and he said once the shovel hit the dirt is when the warranty started. And that gave us 1 year left when we did that first walkthrough. So we got to clarify on that warranty on that thing, because then by the time they finish what they got to finish, we're going to be done. Then if something happens to the walk path or anything else, who's going to fix it? Us or NMDOT?
DOT. It's their property. They still fix it regardless. It's their project. We only have maintenance, which is cleanup. It's cleanup of the pathway, which is dirt, debris, weeds is a part of that. The same for all of the ponding areas, and then the lighting agreement is paying for the bills ultimately for the lighting that was put in.
But it comes back again, the dirt and debris is going to what? We're not taking care of it, the neighbors are, because it's going into their property.
And those are things that we brought up to them, and they're working on addressing.
That's why I said if we brought that contract back and said we're not going to be in charge of the dirt and the debris and put that on them, I can guarantee you they're going to be fixing it really quick. Because right now we're reliable for it.
So I mean, I can check with legal if you
Check
want,
legal,
and see what they say.
We put the dirt and debris and we're not responsible for it. The NMDOT is. I guarantee you they're going to be fixing that thing really quick.
What other discussion is there?
Like you said, I mean, it's their punch list. We just have to make sure that they're addressing the concerns of everything that's happened, and I think
Well, and that's why any issue I'm bringing to their attention and following up consistently. I know some of it is going to take time, just as they've said that, because especially like with the drainage items and the drainage issue, they have to go through and get it designed, redesigned, and then do a change order to get that taken care of. And because of the federal project, doing a change order with federal projects does take a little bit more time on that side. But some of these items we can also, like the lighting, is because they put this, or they were putting shades on it, but the shades only cover the back side and it doesn't cover the front side. But they were also going to angle the lighting down just a little bit, but it still doesn't do justice for that neighborhood. It needs to be, the lighting has to be changed. There's not. So
this lighting that we have on Avenida.
it needs to be consistent.
But yeah, I mean, they have to fix what's not fixed.
One of the
It's hard to I mean,
One of the other pieces of documents, and I'm sorry I didn't talk about it on that, but I just received that last week as well, was the letter of concurrence for the Section 106 information that was brought up for historical review, historical preservation. I did forward that to the resident as well as to Trustee Garcia on that side. Or I thought I did. Maybe I just sent it.
Oh, you sent me the map?
Maybe I just sent it to Beverly or Miss Estrada
No, here, send me the map.
with
Thank you.
that. But the does have information on there where SHPO does agree with DOT's findings, because with the concurrence on that side was signed off by SHPO. But I think that's where we really need to look at these neighborhoods and drive down on these neighborhoods, because they are the entries into our historic communities. They are entries to the Mesilla Park community, which is a historic community. And we, even though it's not designated fully as such, only parts of it are as that, but not parts that are within our area. But we need to drive down on that even more and protect these areas within our community, especially because that's what the town is known for.
Exactly.
Any other discussion?
Are they planning to clean it up anytime soon?
So that's what Lorenzo and I have been having discussions on that. So that as soon as I hear back from them, I'll follow up again on that and see where we're at with that. And I would assume that they're going to do one big cleanup before they're completely done and clear everything out. But they do need to take care of weeds and so on and so forth on that side. But I don't know where we're at on that. So just I'll continually follow up. But
I'll do an email. I'll be
And-
nice. Maybe.
Any other discussion? Seeing as there is none, we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is public input. If any member of the public has input, please step to the podium, state your name for the record.
Good evening. I don't know what the formality is. I can put it down? Okay.
We can hear you from there too.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty loud. So I just wanted one clarification from what y'all were just talking about. The town of Mesilla engineer said that they would charge the town 70 to 200,000 to review it. Is that not encompassed in the job description?
So catch me after the meeting.
Okay, sorry, I'm probably very late to that, but,
The questions, it's just public input
okay.
on that side.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm
What's
so,
that?
I'm not supposed to ask questions.
Oh, yeah, sorry. What, if you would, sorry, then it's because I
State
know
my name.
if you'll state your name.
Summer Rose Nolan. Summer Rose Nolan.
Thank you, Ms. Nolan. Other public input.
So I know I got 3 minutes, so I'm gonna address the letter that got sent out to Mesilla Park residents. First of all, Beverly Estrada.
Thank you, Mrs. Estrada.
First of all, I did have the opportunity to touch base with the codes officer. I think there's a lot of lack of communication that occurred. I don't think, it was pretty much obvious. What I will state is that communication, I continually hear there's no communication, nobody reached out. There was no way of anybody knowing to reach out to Mr. Salazar, as his name, as you can see, is not on the letter. It is his codes officer. Second of all, this is more threatening and intimidating than, oh, hey, just a heads up. We all know what we need to do. We know what we need to maintain. We've been doing so. We've been maintaining it. We've had no complaints. However, when the question came up about the easement, the parkway, 10 to 12 feet, I asked the question. I even asked the codes officer, would you be willing to throw $1,200 on something that is not guaranteed is going to be yours? He said no. Okay, so why are we getting these letters with 14 days to comply when we don't even know what the resolution is? Once again, cart before the horse. Let's resolve the issue. What's the agreement? We brought a problem to the table with the solution, and this was the solution we received. Communication has occurred with Mr. Salazar in regards to, hey, we've been maintaining it. Can we please continue to do the maintenance with it? The trees aren't going to come down. Sidewalks and street lights aren't going to be put in. Once again, this was our answer. Not the way, I don't think that's the best way you'd want to approach to bring your community in, especially since we're dealing with the repercussion and the mess of the University project as is. Since I have my 3 minutes, I'll move on. University project, improving the trees, the lights that are all along University Avenue. When those branches come down, our homes are going to be hit directly with those lights. His home, her home. Have night and day, have day all the time. There's no night, there's no day. They're too bright, it shines. So since we're talking about codes enforcement, is that not a violation of codes? Are the weeds not a violation of codes? If so, what's the difference? So can we resolve that? Can we start getting resolutions instead of creating bigger problems? That's my question. We're all here to work as a team. I have helped in every possible way I can. I don't know. I guess playing nice doesn't really get me far. So is it hardball? I don't know, maybe. So that's the other thing I have with the university project. The concern, walking path. There's potholes that occur on it. Sinkhole, catty corner. How are we assuring that that is not what's happening where that culvert is at? It was not completed correctly. I have brought statements from an architect, from an arborist that majored in agriculture, people's fruit trees, grass, vegetation is dying. Something is occurring. Let's resolve it.
You can continue if you like, Mrs. Schroeder.
Of course I
And that's one thing I will state is, we appreciate the feedback and the comments, and this is what public comment is all about. So please continue.
I do my research. Can we assist them? Most of us have invested a lot into our vegetation, into our sod, into our fruit trees. They're not cheap. As stated, mulberry trees, we can't replace them. We can't purchase one anymore. We know we're watering them. If you like, I can show the water bill. It's pretty hefty. Pruning, I can show. It's been pretty fun what we pay. So can we please assist the neighbors, the residents? I continually hear 70,000, 200,000. Enough is enough. When is NMDOT going to be held accountable for their poor choices and their actions? I do want to touch base on the section 106. I have had the opportunity to sit with Liana. She's looking into it. Number one, the ditch, which served as a sound barrier. And I will say, now that the ditch is gone, I can hear everything. I can hear your motorcycle zooming by. I can hear cars racing by. There is no sound barrier that we used to have. Peaceful night sleep we used to get, it's not present. It's not very appealing. In speaking with her, it seems that the resident, Mr. Nelson, was correct. There was a wildlife habitat that was formed there where the ditch was protected. She's looking, she's helping me. I have IPRA requested on what we can do to resolve. Can we get the ditch back? As residents, I'm gonna tell you that that's probably gonna be what we will go for if they were in the wrong. Everything with the section 106 has not been provided to me by them that I requested. The map has still not been provided. So I got the document, I received the report. There's some questionable things and I will rebuttal and IPRA request further in regards to the questions I have. So those are just my concerns. How can we work together to resolve the issue? It's not fun having to deal with this on top of the mess we already have. So instead of creating bigger messes, can we fix one mess at a time? Communication is a two-way street. And that's something that I did tell your codes officer today, that he should have taken the time to just knock on the door and say, hey, your tree looks like poop, like you may want to consider doing something to it. There was no reason to send a letter like this out. My understanding, he was told he needed to, he was given the directive. I get it, chain of command. If I'm given a directive, of course, I'm going to fulfill it. Don't blame him. But like I said, communication, and there was communication that occurred. And it's occurred straight across the line. So I'm requesting, I want solutions. I'm tired of the pushback. I'm tired that we as residents are continually footing and facing the repercussions of this mess. Let's get to the nitty-gritty of it. NMDOT is not always right, and they are not perfect. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mrs. Strada.
Hi there. My name is Leah Graham. I'm a resident. I own a home on Capri Road at the second stop sign right there. And I've lived there 30 years. Those mulberry trees have been a canopy cover for the whole time I've been there. It's been beautiful. And I know people, when they're selling their homes, it says canopy covered streets and it's sad. I've seen them falling apart and dying. It's sad. So for me personally, I just chopped. I chopped all four. I have 5 just in my front yard. They've been a pain, but at the same time, they're still producing green, which is good. My thing is for one, the envelope, I almost thought it was a joke when I got the letter, because the envelope wasn't even like the return address. I mean, it was not professional. It was scribbled out and then wrote Town of Mesilla. And I was wondering if it was just mine, but no, it was others. I was like, you can't even get a right envelope. But anyways, okay. On top of that, it was mentioned that they went to the houses that showed the most need, okay? Like I said, I've chopped all mine. There's one little tree branch that I had that was sticking out just barely, and that's what I got a photo of. One little tree branch. Now I look down the street and there's dead tree branches coming over. I go down and I ask those folks, will you receive a letter? No. Okay, well then why did I get one for one little stick? I mean, that's ridiculous. So if you're gonna do it to everybody. Don't just single out 32 people, because we all take it very personal, especially, we want our neighbors to be safe. So really, I mean, that was my biggest concern, was just the lack of professionalism with the letter. And we've already talked about a bunch of other stuff that I completely agree with. I think we're on the right track. I just know that there's better ways to handle things. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Graham.
Summer Rose Nolan, I understand how this works now. Okay. Okay, I live at 321 Capri Arc. My home actually backs directly up to where the owl and fox habitat was. I am the only pool that backs up to University. And so now that we're on public record, I thought I'd just share a few things. So first of all, I would like to address the trees. I'm not going to complain about the letter. I get it. There's a fire hydrant in my front yard. A fire truck needs to be able to get underneath it. It's very important. My issue is my husband will get it cleaned up. If we are supposed to be taking care of our trees, according to my husband, we're supposed to be trimming the trees in the fall before they go dormant. So if we want to better educate our community on how to care for these 50-year-old mulberries, I think that would be something that's really important, is letting us know when it's supposed to be taken care of. Again, fire hydrant will get it done because that's important, but like our timing on it. My pool has been named an unnecessary nuisance by my homeowner's insurance now that my Russell's aware of this, but the walkway behind my house, people walk by and I get to see them from waist up, and they get to see all of my yard. And I was very fortunate that I had that beautiful area behind there with the sound barrier and the trees and the shade. So I am also concerned, besides my homeowner's insurance probably going up because middle school children can jump over my fence and get into my pool, in addition to my $1 million floater policy that I have to have as a pool owner anyway, that if I were looking to resell or sell my house, if you're looking at my house, you're gonna come in, you're gonna be like, this is so nice. They've done a lot of updates. They've been here 15 years. They love this place. And then you're gonna go in my backyard and you're gonna see somebody walking by and you're gonna be like, there is no privacy here. And I am concerned about the devaluation of my property. So I am willing to work with the town however we need to try and remedy this. Russell knows that. I love the idea of our neighborhood being named a historical area. I think that's a great idea. But I was all for this project. I was excited about a walking path behind our house that I thought was going to be at street level. I was excited about the shade staying and it being kind of more of a nature walk. So however we can work together to remedy it, I'm happy to do so. But now that I understood the protocol, I wanted to properly go on record with that. So thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Nolan. Other public comment?
Hi, I'm Virginia Martin. A lot of what Beverly said, I just want to put my agreement there. There is no noise barrier anymore for our neighborhood. I walk my dog just for a last night walk, and there's a light sitting over, I mean, it's like a 50-foot pole, I don't know how tall they are, over a home that I've watched for 23 years now. And those lights need to go, and I know you're working on it, so thank you. Insofar as the trees, we did receive 2 letters. We do agree we have a tree. We have 2 properties. we have a tree, we've been watching, we're like, okay, we need to take care of that at fall because there's some branches that are not greening out, they have to go. And we've trimmed it. And we do appreciate that you've come through before and said, okay, guys, Mesilla Park, your trees are getting a little overgrown. We can't get through with the trucks. That's okay. That happened, I don't know how many years ago. And everybody went and did all their trees at one time. I wanted to clarify, I think that the one branch that you're talking about that fell, that's an anomaly. There was a house with several dead trees, completely dead. I know that because I'm across the street from it. It fell, the whole tree fell. I'm talking a giant tree. And it was during a windstorm. I had just been out walking my dog and I knew it was dangerous. I was like, okay, watch the branches, anything can fall during a windstorm. Went in, 10 minutes later, that tree came down. So I do agree, but I kind of feel like things should have been said before, not after. I don't want to have codes like constantly coming through our neighborhood, checking every little last corner because like everybody said, we know what needs to be done. We try to work on it as timely a manner as possible. But if we need to be, kind of reminded like, hey, this is, out of control, fine. But that was one house. And some of the things that have been cited were not dead. They were a little low, so we went and fixed that. They were not anywhere near the parkway. And we were already planning on cutting that down. So, okay, fine, we'll do it now. So those were some of the issues. Also, I think just like administratively, that when you said 14 days, so we got home from taking care of my husband's mother on the East Coast, came home, had this letter, it says 14 days from the date of receipt, the date of the notice, that was like a 5-day window. And so we had no information on that. So we'll contact you and ask for an extension because everybody's busy for the branches that we should not do, that they're not safe for us to do. So there was the trees on that. Sorry, there was another thing. I'll come back if I remember. There's a lot going on in our neighborhood. Oh, that was it. If I may continue. I was really surprised. My neighbor, Miss Estrada here, told me that because of this tree issue that happened with one tree that fell, that now we're talking about that the town of Mesilla is saying they're liable. If that tree had caused any damage, that property owner would have been liable. I guarantee you their home insurance would have been liable. We're liable for that property. And so the fact that you're talking about encroaching, that to me is like a really strong word because we've cared for it for 23 years now. We're the third homeowner. The other homeowner was like a blip. So we're basically the second homeowner of this home. And you're talking about these small streets in Mesilla. If you took away, if you're going to take that property and make it town of Mesilla property, what are you going to do to it after what you allowed to happen on University? I don't want a street that wide. I thought I did because I used to live in the suburb and my husband convinced me no sidewalks was a good thing. And he was right. It's a neighborhood. People drive slowly. And I don't want that to go away because the town of Mesilla then, 10 years, 15 years from now says, well, that's ours. We're going to develop it. We're going to put sidewalks on. That's safer. So that is a big concern that because of this one tree, now you're not taking into account the historical precedent that's been set. So thank you for listening to that. I will say, just so you all have it on your desks, for NMDOT, there is a piece of trash, it's a cement piece that it's on the ditch still. It's basically demolition trash. They took it out. It was like the old pass through for the water that would go under the street on University. So they took it out, dumped it to the side, and I kept waiting for them to take it and take it and take it. And now it's just trash can for bottles. I'm trying to think where to tell you. It's right before, is it Mesilla Farms? Yeah. Is that? Yeah, Mesilla Farms. So if you're on the diagonal ditch that comes from Mesilla Park, hits University, and then crosses over to the back of Mesilla Farms, it's on the side of Mesilla Park. And it's just there under the trees, but it's like a big old, it's probably up to here. So if you could ask NMDOT, I haven't emailed them, but I'm putting that to you and I'll try to email them too. Like you said, everybody has time. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Ben Schmidt, 323 Capri Arc. I want to thank the marshals for patrolling the neighborhood. We haven't had any male thieves in a while, but the speeding behind on University is crazy. They're doing 50, 60 miles an hour all through the night, wide open, motorcycles on the pathway, everything. That would be a good way to maybe pay for the $1.3 million charging station to start writing some tickets. Also, on the Villalobos property next to Dave Benz's, where the guy raised the property up 4 feet, we call it, the sand just keeps blowing into the Papillon neighborhood, which is the gated community that my parents live in. And it's covering all the property with sand. We've notified the county. We've notified Mesilla multiple times. It's hard to get a hold of anybody, hard to get anybody to call you back. But they said that since they're not doing construction, then they don't need a permit and they didn't need any permission to raise the land. So if the precedent is set that bulldozers aren't construction equipment and you can raise your land 4 feet, then just want to let everybody know that that's okay now. Parkway ownership. A bunch of trees, sounds like a bunch of trees are going over the road, and now you're saying that Mesilla owns it. Sounds like Mesilla is going to have to pay a lot of money to trim some trees. And if I wish I would have known that, because I would have had you guys mowing half my grass and watering my grass and trimming my trees. Because I do landscaping and I know trimming trees is very expensive. So for some people that don't have the means or just can't do it themselves, that's going to be very hard for them to do. The slope mediation, it's August 10th and there's still rocks and debris coming into my backyard. Trees are still dying and so is the grass. The lights, it's August 10th and the lights are still bright in my backyard at night. It looks like daylight. Weeds and the ponding and the paths. Kind of goes back to the, like Beverly was saying, it's hard to pass out letters and stuff expecting people to abide by your ordinances when apparently Mesilla has no regard for their own ordinances. I mean, there's weeds everywhere. They're giant all over the new ponding that they just got done. I mean, everywhere, including Villalobos' 5-acre lot that he raised 4 inches, covered in weeds. The typical view. The typical view on the original plans for the path was, it looked probably 6 inches above the curb. So what was on the typical view and what was done are two completely different things. I think the path needs to be brought down to curb level, or like in the typical view, just a little bit above curb level, because it is going to depreciate the value in it and of our homes, increase the insurance cost, and it's privacy. It's a lot of things. And I think definitely then Mesilla needs to maybe hold off on the $1.2 million charging station and maybe either build a rock wall / sound barrier or lower the path. And we need to figure out another avenue with that. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Other public comment?
Hello.
My name is Bridget Snow. I live at 303 Capri Arc. I unfortunately am that neighbor who talked about the tree in the first place. I already apologized to Eddie. I talked to him this week. I really appreciate the open door and the conversation. Obviously it's a big issue because we do have dying trees and we have question. I don't think that it's a question as to whether our neighbors want to maintain their properties or take care of these trees, but it's a question first of figuring out ownership. I don't think that anybody is objecting to the fact that they need to do these trees. We just need to figure out who owns it first. And from what we discussed, it looks like it's always been Mesilla's, but it's sort of been this gray area where people have just maintained it. Now we're at a point where people are not maintaining it, but it's hard to hold them accountable. So, I mean, it sounds like this parkway thing would be a great solution for us, because then we continue to maintain these properties as we have, while maintaining the freedom of not having Mesilla come in and build sidewalks and take essentially some sort of ownership over it. And I don't know what we need to do to have that clarification and figure that out, but that would be great, especially in my industry. It's a little hard to sell houses in this neighborhood. If you tell somebody, by the way, this is your property, but those front 12 feet, you don't know. You might have it, you might not have it. It's your guess is as good as mine. And then the lighting issue. So, I live right there on Capri Arc. I look down there and I'm like, look at that. That's the North Star. No, it's a 40-foot light. And since we've taken all that foliage out as well, I mean, you can hear the semis, the air brakes, the everything. And it's heartbreaking, and knowing that studies weren't done and it's out there really sucks. That's, I don't know what we can do. I know we've got lots of things to discuss, but if I could see the parkway happen, I would love for us to examine that a little bit more and see, because I would hate for any of us to lose the front of our property. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ms. Snow. Other public comment?
Melissa Molina, Mayor Hernandez and Board of Trustees. I know this is not on the agenda today, but I need some kind of assistance regarding 1991 Calle de Santiago and New Mexico vintage wines. There's an ongoing issue and it's not getting any better. The amplified outdoor music that's disturbing our peace has continued to get louder instead of adhering to maybe being a little bit conscious that there's a residence directly next to New Mexico vintage wines. Because the ordinance is still being worked on, businesses with outdoor patios are currently refusing to adhere to reasonable noise restrictions. They are taking advantage of the regulatory gap until a final ordinance is put in place. And they know they're untouchable. That nothing will be done. The town should not allow residents that are in the historic commercial zone to continue to put up with the loud amplified outdoor music until the ordinance is passed. I am requesting that the board please intervene with a directive or a temporary order to remain until the final ordinance is officially adopted. Please protect pre-existing homes, ensure the final ordinance requires hard curfews for outdoor patios, and mandate that all decibel levels be measured strictly from the residential line. The burden of containing commercial sound must fall on the business. That is introducing the noise, not on the pre-existing neighbors that live next to them. By putting in place something to regulate the loopholes that they are finding during this transition period, it's just an ongoing nuisance and it's impacting our livelihood. So please, I'm asking for some kind of assistance until this ordinance gets addressed. Thank you. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Molina. Any other public comment? Seeing as there is none, we'll move on to the next agenda item. Item number 9, closed executive session. Item A, the governing board will convene an executive closed session pursuant to section 1015(1)(h)(2) NMSA 1978 for discussion of limited personnel matters, including the appointment, employment, evaluation, discipline, or dismissal of a public employee for the Public Works Department, Marshal's Department, and Economic and Community Development Department. If I can have a motion to go into executive closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by trustee Nevadas, seconded by trustee Garcia. Unless there's discussion or objection, the motion will carry as it has been presented. And the time is now 7:50 in the evening, and we are heading into executive closed session.
Kathy, just a second. One of the neighbors was here, she was the one who said she's chopped her trees off all the way. I have no idea what she does in this. But she was just trying to try to take care of this. And I don't know if it was you or another close person who came by, but they told her that she couldn't have anything hanging over the street at all. Like it had to be straight with the street. It couldn't even be the 13-foot 6 inches. So I'm just asking, like, if people could like not be telling us that we have to like have no branches or
No,
something.
first of all, I apologize for all this.
I understand
We had
that.
a new code enforcement
I understand that, and so does, yeah.
If you definitely have any questions, we now reach out to you, but I would not pursue something that you mentioned, just one little branch, hanging over the tree. Obviously, there's a lot more of them, but he's very, what I'm saying, it's difficult. I'm not blaming him at all whatsoever, because he's a good kid. He's just following down the code because he wants to do a good job to the T.
I understand.
And there's a fire. I don't know exactly what the whole context is behind that one little limb.
Well, I don't even know the one little limb. She was trimming tonight, and I understand, my understanding is somebody came through as she was, maybe it wasn't tonight, but as she was trimming, somebody came through and they said, oh no, that's not good enough. You can't have anything over the street. That was her understanding. So I'll let her know that, but if you could maybe talk with whoever.
Well, if it was him, definitely.
I don't know who it was, but like somebody's gotta get everybody on board.
Somebody was an official.
It was an official codes person, yeah. And she's like, are you kidding me?
I want to see why anybody else would be one other than our own.
I'm sure it was codes, yeah, just kind of driving by, so.
And I'll just know my piece of
Yeah.
it, because I do have full fire chief, Las Cruces Fire Department. So when I received my letter, I did have them come out. The fire apparatus that's being referenced, and I'm gonna wait for their request to bring my battle. But fire apparatus that's being coded, I'm not in violation of. And Las Cruces Fire Department, I did request for them to go ahead and give me the documentation, et cetera, but it was clear, they said they don't understand, 13 feet by 6 inches wasn't the issue. I know what I need to do, it's gonna get done, and I let him know that today, I did speak to him. Like I said, the pruning season, come October, we'll prune it, like, we got rid of a lot of stuff that was out there. Not a problem, we'll get it done. However, if letters like this are gonna come out, my only request is that you have the meat and the backbone to stand with it, because I also know the contacted magistrate court. Magistrate court informed me that they're not overseeing any of the ordinance violations. The only one they're overseeing is animal control. So when a letter like this gets sent to me, it's serious matter to me, and it needs my attention as 14
Yeah,
days.
we're taking it
is there.
seriously, and,
So,
yeah.
am I happy? No. Am I upset or frustrated?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Absolutely.
You've heard that, we're all upset.
Oh, again, like Mayor mentioned, I do appreciate, and I mentioned to Trustee Garcia, I do appreciate you guys, no matter good or bad, what,
Yeah.
obviously, we're
And
doing
like
this for
you said,
you, right?
yeah, we understand.
So regardless, we're not, perfect, he is involved, like I said, I'm not, he might correct it, maybe I failed because I did not follow through with him to make sure.
I understand that you're,
So,
we're
you know,
working on your department, we all work,
we
we
don't see
understand
it
that.
around, but
But
I mean,
it's-
eventually it does work, you mentioned like pruning trees, I mean, I used to do in that field for a very long time. We're not asking you to prune the trees other than the clearance, we're asking is to remove the dead branches. Right? You don't need to wait till the end of the year.
That's
You
still
know,
seems
to
like a
remove the dead
shock.
branches.
That still seems like a shock to the tree if you're taking off some.
The dead branches,
Yeah.
the branches are already dead.
They're dead, yeah, but then you're still shocking the tree, aren't you, when you're just like cutting at it? No?
Well, again, I'm not a specialist, but I prune many, my father-in-law does pecan orchards. So I help him, and it's done, we try and aware of all that. But we're not requesting to prune the whole tree, it's just a clearance when they're green. But if you remove dead branches, again, because of fire hazard and all that other stuff, that's what we want to resolve. And of course, he explained all that, but that was.
No, and I
in our
understand that, but I
conversation.
do have a license arborist, and I do have a license agriculture, because he does that, that's what he majored in. We do have a pecan orchard that is also living in.
So again,
I
that's.
just not advise that, even if the tree is dead, that you do not want to take it, because it's something that the tree
part
is,
of it.
even though it's not getting any more water, the reason why it's dead is because it's not retaining the getting water. But the recommendation is always early spring, early fall, or take it off. And
But you weigh that, and prune arbors, you weigh that with potential hazard of I mean, that's just one of the restaurants. It was a whole large area with a lot of private things. You weigh that the tree's health versus the danger it could cause if there's a fire. You know what I mean? And our responsibility is to weigh, it always outweighs it will weigh, public safety and resident safety versus, a tree being chopped because, it was.
And that part I understand.
Strike.
That part I understand.
Like you can hit the rose bush, it can
But
hit.
I think what happened is that one tree came down, Bridget talked to you, now you've looked at our neighborhood. If I went through Missy, I'd be like, same thing's gonna happen here. That tree goes up, you're all gone.
You're right. But the thing is, once we were brought into a call or into an issue, and then once now that makes us, now I have to do something. I can't turn blind.
And you can do something over here too, because now you know that it's an issue. If you're saying it's an issue for our neighborhood, it's an issue for
Well,
Missy too. So start going all around.
It's gonna be. There's only one word.
Yeah, well.
It's not. He's been addressing other issues, not just in that area. He's been over here. He's been over here.
Yeah, if you can communicate to him, not tell the neighbor they have to cut it.
Straight with it.
Yeah.
I will do.
Okay.
last one's left. Oh, somebody left the hat.
What's that?
Somebody left the hat. Was that what's her name? It was just.
Might be, which Stephen Fisher, I'm gonna check from that.
Do you have my cup? I had a question. Lorenzo. Lorenzo.
Did he go, or did he go to the office?
He might have went to the bathroom.
Went to his office.
Oh. Who, Lorenzo?
I thought that
Stephanie's
was-
chasing him now. I'm letting you go first. Come on now, please.
You didn't catch him? No, he was already outside, like way outside. I saw me coming back. He's all running. She's calling my name. He's such a Stephen Ford.
Everybody's here. The time is now 9:18 and we are returning from executive closed session. Or only those items discussed as noted on the agenda concerning the governing body going into executive closed session pursuant to section 1015(1)(h)(2) NMSA 1978 for discussion of limited personnel matters, including the appointment, employment evaluation, discipline, and dismissal of public employees for the Public Works Department, Marshals Department, and Economic and Community Development Department. If I can have a motion to exit our executive closed session and return to our regular scheduled meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Trustee Garcia. And if there's not discussion or objection, the motion will carry as it has been presented. The time is now 9:19 and we are back in our regularly scheduled meeting. Item 9B, possible action that may be arise within the as a result of executive closed session. We do have some candidates to bring forward with recommendation for hire, as well as some promotions for recommendation for hire. So we'll start with water technician, Mr. Chris Naranjo, who previously worked with the team and is rejoining the team.
So moved. Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Trustee Garcia. I will open it up for discussion.
Can you let us know what the starting pay is, please?
I'd have to look that up. It's 19, a little over 19, but
Okay.
it would be the exit pay would be, and that, sorry, that would be a request that I have for the board is the pay in which he left at, that he started at.
Okay. Do we need any condition on that or not?
You can, if you want to. So there's a motion on the floor for condition to have Mr. Naranjo earning the pay that he left us with when just a month ago.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Trustee Garcia, seconded by Trustee Nevadas for the condition. Gloria, if we can roll call vote on that, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson here.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena.
Yes.
Trustee Garcia.
Yes.
Trustee Nevadas.
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yeses.
Thank you very much for that condition. Any other discussion? Seeing as there is none, motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Trustee Garcia, with condition. Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson here.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena.
Yes.
Trustee Garcia.
Yes.
Trustee Nevadas.
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yeses.
Thank you very much for approval of Chris Naranjo rejoining the team. Next item on the agenda is for our grounds and, or sorry, next item front as a result of closed session is for our grounds and maintenance position for Mr. Jose Hernandez to join the team.
So moved. Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Trustee Garcia. I'll open it up for discussion. 1550.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing as there is none, Laura, if we can roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson here.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena.
Yes.
Trustee Garcia.
Yes.
Trustee Nevadas.
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of Jose Hernandez joining the Public Works team. We do have one more position that we will be looking for in that Public Works team. Next, we will move to our let's say community development position. Community development coordinator recommendation from the committee is for Mr. Paulo Rocha to be joining the team. Can get a motion on the floor.
So
please.
moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Trustee Nevadas, seconded by Trustee Cadena. Sorry, it's not late at night. I'll open it up for discussion, if there's any. No discussion. Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Beard? No. Trustee Cadena? Yes. Trustee Garcia?
No.
Trustee Nevares?
Yes.
Mayor Hernandez?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 yeses and 2 nos.
Thank you very much for approval of Mr. Rocha joining the community development.
What's the starting
department.
pay?
20.
22, 23.
I think that's what I read.
23.
23. Yes. Next, we'll move to the Marshal's Department. The positions that we had with the opening of our lieutenant, I would like to make a recommendation for Sergeant Hernandez to move from her sergeant position to the lieutenant position. We can have a motion on the floor, please.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Trustee Cadena, seconded by Trustee Garcia. Open it up for discussion.
What's her pay increase gonna be at?
It would be to the lieutenant pay. Which I have lieutenant 26.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Laura, if we can roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Beard?
No.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
No.
Trustee Nevares?
Yes.
Mayor Hernandez?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 yeses and 2 nos.
Thank you very much for approval of Sergeant Hernandez moving to the lieutenant position. Next, next position in the item on the agenda. Next position in the Marshal's Department is Deputy Nanez moving into the sergeant position.
So.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Trustee Garcia, seconded by Trustee Cadena. I'll open it up for discussion. I don't have that pay in front of me, unfortunately, but it is for the sergeant pay rate as it has been approved by the Board of Trustees, the starting pay rate. Any other discussion? Seeing as there is none, Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Beard?
Yes.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Nevares?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yeses.
Thank you very much for approval of Deputy Nanez moving into the sergeant position. Next position for the Marshal's Department is for a new hire for a Deputy Mr. Matthew Alvarez.
So move.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Trustee Garcia, seconded by Trustee Cadena. I'll open it up for discussion. This is for Mr. Alvarez joining us in a Deputy 1 position. I don't have that pay in front of me right now. I know. I'll get that to you, though. Any other discussion? Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Beard?
Yes.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Nevares?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yeses.
Thank you very much for approval of Mr. Alvarez joining our Marshal's Department. Next candidate for the Marshal's Department is Mr. Eric Lopez to be joining our team.
So move.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Trustee Garcia, seconded by Trustee Cadena. Given the background of Mr. Lopez, he would be and his experience, he'd be joining us as Deputy 3 within the ranking of the Marshal's Department. Any other discussion? Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burr.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena.
Yes.
Trustee Garcia.
Yes.
Trustee Nevares.
Yes.
And me. Yes. I'm sorry, I don't even know if anybody is in. Mayor, the roll call is 4 yeses.
Thank you very much for the new hire of Mr. Eric Lopez joining our team. Next item on the agenda is Board of Trustee Committee reports and comments. Trustee Nevares.
I will attend the Taylor Museum Advisory Board meeting this week. Also, as a comment on some other, I guess, resident concerns, maybe the town should look at perhaps having some education on public relations and how to deal with some of the issues in a more of a positive way, I guess, in a sense. But it's just my comment on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Garcia.
MPO is on this coming Wednesday at the City of Las Cruces building. I will not be attending, and Andrew was already aware of that. As for comments, you got a full team, Mr. Marshall, so let's get those guys out there. Let's get the team out there, sorry. And patrolling. Any concerns from a resident should not be a joking or laughing matter. Just remind you guys all that, please. It's not a joking or laughing matter. We're here to help and serve the community just as we are as well too as a board. So I take that very to the heart. And I know the mayor knows that as well too. So that's all I have to say.
And thank you, Trustee Garcia. Trustee Cadena.
I'll be attending the Taylor Historic Site Advisory Board meeting too. I did attend the South Central Regional Transit meeting 2 weeks ago. And that is really a dynamic situation there where bus transportation is really growing, and they're reaching about 200,000 riders by the end of the year, calendar year. Yeah, it's doing really well. I feel like, and it's successful in the county. Reaching all the way from Sierra County, TRC, Elephant Butte, all that area down to Sunland Park and into El Paso even to drop people. So it's a really good setup, and it's being well run as far as I can tell. That's it.
Thank you, Trustee Cadena. Mayor Pro Tem.
Just like Trustee Garcia mentioned, FPO Wednesday at 1 p.m. in the City of Las Cruces, and that's all I'm asking.
The what? Hold on, I got a list. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'll make it snappy though. I can't be that quick with just one thing. MPO, I'm not going to say more than having MPO. I will, with the note of the doodle poll for the blacksmith shop, I'll work with the team. We'll get that out. In fact, I'll just jump on there a little later and knock that out later tonight for that happening for that. The county did approve the fire agreement at their last meeting 2 weeks ago in that, so that will move forward as soon as we get that. We'll start doing public safety interviews for the fire team and for the paramedic team. Some of the things on here, let's see, I do have the CBDG application was submitted fully today. Tiffany went up and hand delivered it up in Santa Fe to DFA, and I did receive receipt of that, so that application is in for that grant. We did submit NOIs, or the Notice of Intent, to the Water Trust Board for 2 water projects and water line extensions, sewer line extensions. You'll see those coming forward to you in the next meeting for a resolution to submit the application. Then we have notification from the municipal courts that the magistrate court that municipal citations within the magistrate court it can just be pushed forward as they are and as they need to be. Without us previously, they were saying that if we had a specific municipal code that needed to be addressed, we needed to send it to them to have them enter it before the marshals could cite it. But now our contact there said that AOC told them that they needed to just cite as necessary, just make sure to cite the code. That way it can be pulled appropriately whenever their staff is going through that. So we'll be, the Marshal's Department will be helping out with that until we get the nuisance ordinance and the hearing. The speed on University, that was one of the things that I meant to bring up in the discussion on the updates for the University project, is that I did speak with DOT also about putting some of the speed signs that show how fast you're going, because that was a request. Well, they won't necessarily be able to take care of that. They're looking at it. But we do have money in capital outlay and grants that goes towards signage that we could potentially do that. So you might see that coming forward to you soon. And then on that side as well, DOT was out doing surveying on Avenida de Mesilla last week. And that's because they're getting ready to plan out and install the Hawk system here at our crosswalk. On that side, you'll notice that they also, if you've driven down Norte recently, you'll notice they have a speed box up there to track the speed of vehicles as they're doing an assessment there and working with our team directly to look at resurfacing that road on Norte. So we should see that coming within the upcoming months with Norte being resurfaced on DOT side. Just as a note, and I'll include it that because I do have that, as I mentioned, the newsletter going out, it's still time to add any information. If you all want to have anything added to that, please send that to me by Wednesday morning at the latest. If you want to have anything added to the newsletter specifically, one of the things that I will put in there, and that I already have in there, I should say, is the grant. And the grants that we've been going after, the grants that we've received in that funding, because I think it's important to note that, especially like for the charging stations, because they were brought up several times this evening, and the charging stations are paid for 100%. They did cost $800,000 to put in, but that is not coming out of the town's coffers per se to make that happen. That was 100% grant through the Department of Transportation in partnership with them to make that happen. The last thing I have is that with the next meeting that we have scheduled for the 24th, that's Monday the 24th, that's actually the first day that the Board of Directors for the Municipal League will be having a dinner with the staff. So I will not be here for that specific meeting, but that's where I want to see with you all if you want to do the meeting on that day, on that Monday, the 24th, or if you want to postpone it to the 31st and do it the following Monday. Whatever. I guess Pro Tem, it's up to you on that one.
I think the 31st is when I'm back up in Albuquerque.
Okay. Do you want to run the meeting then? You good with that?
Yeah.
So there will be a couple of resolutions, but I'll make sure to have the board action forms and everything outlined. I don't think and if there's anything major, I'll postpone it and hold it for the next meeting. No hiring. Well, actually there might be, but we'll figure it out, right?
Yeah. We'll make it work.
We don't know yet, right, Lorenzo?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, and I am available. Yeah, I can be available.
And we'll talk about that before on that side. And with that, that's all that I have. The time is now 9:37, and unless there's objection, I'll call this meeting as adjourned. Thank you.